Hello, how is everybody doing? W2 over T, Whiskey 2, Oscar Romeo Tango here. That's my ham call sign. I'll be uploading this to my new YouTube channel for Strictly Ham Radio. And maybe my gaming channel as well. But tonight I have a cool video for you guys. I wanted to go over how to program your Motorola APX radios. So I've gotten a couple requests to kind of show you guys how to do conventional and P25 conventional systems. Excuse me. So I won't go over trunking this video. That's a whole nother ball game. That is you can make a whole video on just that. So first things first. Usually your software comes in as a little zip file or a little download, depending how you get it. The more legal routes, you'll get a software download, but the occasional standalone version that you may come across may come up in a zip file. Now a lot of people don't really know how to unzip these, so I'm just gonna do a quick show you how to do it. Now a great resource to use, completely free and awesome, helpful application to always have in your computer is 7-Zip. This is a free for life software. Usually you just get the 64-bit or 32. I recommend just going with the top one right here, stable version, not the alpha, and just downloading the one you need, and then it is completely standalone. You never touch it again. When you have a zip file just like this, you'll right click it, you'll see your 7-Zip right here, and you'll just click extract to zip, and that'll just basically unzip this and take all of the take this whole folder that is zipped inside of it, and just make it its own thing. So whereas usually there might be a software in here, and you can't open it, this now makes it so it's its own folder on your desktop, as if you just created it. And the reason a lot of people will zip it is because a service like Google Drive, MediaFire, all those services recognize this as one file instead of a whole folder of files. So it's just easier to upload and share, and just compressed for storage use. So now that we know how to unzip things, we'll just get right into it. So I'm going to be showing you guys some ham radio stuff. I'm not going to go into any public safety. If you guys do any public safety programming with these radios, please do it cautiously, do it correctly, and make sure you have the proper permission to do so. I am not responsible for you guys transmitting on any frequencies you are not authorized to. I'm going to be showing you guys my way of doing things, which is kind of like a somewhat OCD organized way of doing things, but please be cautious when programming your radios, because you also don't want to brick it. So I'm going to do this repeater right here, 2-meter ham, AC to GE in Watertown, New York. And it's a repeater I can hit from my my location, so I'm going to use this one for an example. So move this out of the way right now, kind of bring up the software for you guys to see. I'm going to start off with your radio wide. This is kind of where you can change the time and do your kind of organizing everything. So this code plug is a little edited to have someone I programmed a radio for taken care of, but you guys can enable this the way you want to. Features may be different based on what radio flash code you have, depending on the firmware you have. As long as I believe it's before 13, if I'm correct, you can deboot the radio. This is highly discouraged, as it makes it less desirable, less secure, and there's a lot of things wrong with it. A lot of things wrong with doing that. So I don't recommend doing that. But radio ergonomics configuration. This is where you'll fix all your buttons on your radio, your switches, your menu items. This is just those 3 buttons on your screen if you have a Model 3 or a Model 2, I believe. Either of those, you can change all that stuff. I don't recommend changing the keypad. I would just leave this as is. Accessory buttons, if you have a microphone with buttons on it, as for example the XC RSM microphones, you can edit the accessory buttons on there. And if you have a smart key, which I do not, so I won't be going into that. You can change up your display here, and basically that's where you want to customize your radio to your liking. Radio information is where you can change the name and all that stuff of the code plug and all that great information. Today I'll be going over conventional stuff. So this is the conventional wide setup I've got going on here. I don't really change much. I'll leave this on screen for a second here if you guys want to. If you guys are having problems, you can take a look at this setup and change it to whatever you need to. This is how I have it set up. Now if you guys want to do MDC or some kind of P25 ID, I have a P25 one right here. You just name it, choose a system. You have your MDC or your Astro, Astro being P25, and then you have your ID. So that is all. I don't recommend doing radio inhibit. That is what will get your radio shut down. If you want to enable this and have the feature available to inhibit others' radios, just know it can happen to you. It can happen to you either way. In P25, if you are trying to do non-affiliate scan and you affiliate, and that system does not recognize your ID, your radio can be bricked. So just be very, very cautious, because if you try to send that radio into Motorola after affiliating on non-affiliate scan, you will not get any help. So be very cautious when doing stuff like that. So that's a P25 system right there. I have an MDC one right here to show you. So I have it set to 19, but you can change it to whatever you want here. To show you get on the P25, if you wanted to change it, you can do that right there. There we go. So on P25, it's on the right side, and on the MDC, it's right there, just the hex. You can do the leading edge, which is a pre, trailing, which is a post, and and both. This pre-time and stuff like that does not make it so you can hear another unit's MDC tone at the end. You can edit that to your liking if you would. Again, you have your radio inhibit, radio check, status, all that great information. Usually that's only for digital. You really won't see these features available on an MDC system. It really depends. So I have two systems right here, both receive only. One of them actually is not receive only. I can tell you why in a second here. I cannot tell you why this is not receive only. Well, okay. So if you have a public safety frequency that you do not want to transmit on, you just do this receive only personality. You will check that right there. Now, something to understand about the APX software, and if you have ever programmed Motorola radios before, this will be a completely new way about programming these channels in. So in older softwares, when programming channels in, you were able to make a specific channel a receive only channel and basically do things on your own based on the channel. Well, the way APX software goes is you are adding channels in groups, and you're basically giving like channels similar parameters. So if you have 5 channels that you want to be receive only and 5 channels that you want to be transmittable, you have to make 2 different conventional personalities, one receive only and one able to transmit. Therefore, it makes it a little easier to program mass channels with the same parameters, but at the same time you're kind of splitting them up. So as you can see here, I have my public safety receive, and then if I wanted a transmit public safety personality, I would just name the same thing, public safety TX Astro, and that you can do that on your own, doing it the way you want. Now, the way I have it here is I have an analog setup and an Astro setup. You are able to do a mixed mode system. However, I like to, just for organizational, I like keeping it separated. When you do a mixed mode, if you look here, you'll see that your NAC codes and your PL tones become available, whereas if you just keep it Astro, your PL tones are disabled. And that's just a little, I find it better for when you're scanning and stuff. You don't really get this like mixed signal. You're strictly listening to that NAC, or you're strictly listening for those PL tones, and I find that to be a lot better than listening to both at the same time, because in these mixed modes you'll find that when scanning you might get some weird feedback and stuff. So I just find it better to have 2 different zones with 2 different signal types. So that's how I recommend doing that. I'll scroll down in both of these so you guys can see my setup. You do need to have a system so that I can decode IDs and stuff like that. You do need to have a emergency revert channel if you want to have the emergency configuration enabled, unless otherwise you'll get some errors. If I scroll all the way down here, right here, sometimes if you are going, I believe it's for the analog, you have to, instead of having Astro, you have to have SecureNet there. Depends on what kind of systems you're using. So I'll scroll through this. If you want your push to talk ID, do that as well. Okay. And yes, for analog you have to do SecureNet. So that's the big difference, is making sure when you've got an Astro system, you choose Astro down here. Now sometimes when you put in an error, the software is very good about helping you out and telling you what's going on. So if you're trying to fix an issue and you go to a different area and things still aren't working, you can always double click on your issue, and it'll take you right to where your problem is, and you can see if there's a fix right there. If both are red, you may have to edit another parameter to see if something else will fix it and clear out your issue. If you guys have any problems with that, you are more than welcome to let me know and I can help you out with that. So conventional personalities in this section are just simply for giving the channels you are programming your parameters. So this is simply giving what you want your frequencies to listen to, a set of parameters to listen to. Very simple. So we're going to go non-Astro, and we're going to input this repeater we were talking about in. So we have our RX frequency on the left, which is a little different, 4670600, and our transmit frequency 4660. and we'll leave the talk around most ham channels are 25 kilohertz, so we'll leave that. Most public safety frequencies are 12.5 kilohertz, so just make sure you're paying attention to that. And our receive is blank, but our transmit has a PL of 154 or 151.4, excuse me. And that'll be all for that. So we just made our ham radio channel, and then what I can do is I'll show you guys a P25 channel. So I'll do Astro, and I want this to transmit, so I won't check that. I want an Astro system, P25. We've got that secure net down here. We'll scroll back up, and just to keep things simple, I'm just going to do VHF calling P25, and there we go. So 146.520. And we'll put the same over here. And I'm just going to leave that NAC alone, but you can change that. And of course, because it's an Astro only system, all that area, all those PLs are grayed out. So we'll leave this as is, not really much to change. If you wanted to add a scan list, this is where you would put it. Again, if you have multiple scan lists, whether you are trying to listen to two different counties, both counties have the same parameters. If you want to have two different scan lists for those channels, even though they have the same parameters, if there are two different scan lists, you have to make two different personalities, because you can't separate. Like, let's say I had two channels here, and I wanted this channel on one scan list, and then I wanted this channel on another scan list. I would need two personalities, so I'd have to make another personality, one with scan list 1 and one with scan list 2, or however you choose to do so. So I'm going to leave this channel here just to show you that it really doesn't matter what you have going in there. What does matter is your zones. So here is where you start building into what you're showing on the radio. So your zone name is whatever you want to show it on the radio, and then if you have that top display on your radio, what you want it to show there. You can also make a voice announcement if you have that enabled. You can make it a protected zone or an FPP enabled zone if you want to edit it on the fly. Usually what I'll do is I'll have on a conventional channel, I'll make a second channel just editable, so I'll just say edit, and I'll just start it on, let's say 146, excuse me, 0, 146, 0, and what I'll do is I'll just make it usable, user selectable PL all, and this makes it so I can just edit it on the fly. If you can't for some reason edit one or the other of your PLs, which does happen, just play around with these until you can edit it correctly. Sometimes there's a issue with that, and I've just played around with which one I've enabled here, and I've gotten what I needed working. And what I do is I just have this channel right here, so I can edit a frequency through front panel programming on the fly, and just program in a repeater, almost like using a Baofeng or a radio like that, where it's a little less secure. If you have a FPP enabled radio, you can put a password on it, or you can leave it completely blank and it'll still prompt you for a password, but if you hit OK, it'll still go through. The reason Motorola has to prompt you for a password on front panel programming is to stay within the guidelines of FCC Part 95, if I remember correctly. Part 90, it's one of the 90s. And that's for, I believe it's Part 90, for front panel programming on public safety radios. It needs to be password protected. So that's the reason for that. Going back to this, your zone channel assignment, this is just what you're showing on the radio. So if I have 20 channels in my personalities, but I only want 4 of them to be on my radio because the other 16 aren't ready or whatever, I'll just bring up my 3. I'm going to go to my ham channels, and I'm just going to add in my channels. And so we've got conventional or trunking, and then your personalities. You'd select your personalities and the frequency you want to do. Then you can edit the position however you want to. And again, this is what's showing up on your radio. So if you want your P25 channel first, you just drag that up and put it, you order it however you want it to be, and then you're just going to name it here. This is what will matter on this is what will show on the radio. So just do it like this. There we go. Basically, the reason you're putting these in twice is this is on a Model 3 radio. This is what's showing up on your front display, and this is what's showing up on the top display right by your channel knob. And for a scan list, you can make a priority scan, edit your settings here. This is what I leave it as. And then for a scan list, you are just adding a new one, name it whatever you want, and you're just adding in your channels. Go ham. And this is based off of the zone. This is not based off of any personality. So it will only, a scan list will only scan what you have in a zone, not what you have in a personality. So if you can't find a specific channel here, make sure you have it put into your zone or you won't find it. So once you have your channels organized, now although on our radio we organized it to be P25 first, if you want your repeater to be the first thing it scans, you can move that up and prioritize that. You can have a fixed channel and prioritize that, and then make your next one your selected channel, or vice versa, whatever works for you. So I always do selected and then just kind of do things like that. So you guys are able to change things however you like, and that is generally how you program a P25 system. Remember, generally with this software, your conventional personalities have to be the same parameters, and then your zone channel assignment is where you get to mix everything together and build your zone. So that is where you can mix your P25 and analog channels all together, both VHF and UHF, or if you have an APX 8000, you can mix your VHF, UHF, 7.8, whatever you have, put that all together in your zone. But when it comes to your personalities, that's where you're splitting everything up by parameter. So this is how generally how you would set up your software and upload it to your radio. If you guys have any questions, please comment below, and I'll do my best to help you out. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys.